Well, it's Wednesday again, and guess what? Between last Wednesday and this one, I read more comic books. So let's start off with the best of the batch this time around. Usually I save that for last, but I don't know. I guess I'm going alphabetically or whatever. Anyway, there it is. Not too crazy about the cover, but still, it's a great issue of Conan the Barbarian, the best there is out there. And so Robert Delator showed up on Art Chores, and it's just absolutely fantastic. The story opens up with a dream sequence and all that, and this is a very bizarre story in Conan, where somehow he's in the distant past, even more than his own era, which is the distant past. So this is more distant past. But anyway, it's all the fun and adventure of Conan stories, very well plotted out and done. But man, the artwork, and of course channeling John Buscema here, is just spot on, and just great stuff. He dreams about himself in the nude, yes. But it's all the clues about what the forces of evil that he's up against. That's been dogging him for quite some time. And there we go. Far shores and fearless men. So there we go. There's King Cole waking up from a nightmare. Was that his nightmare and not Conan's? Yeah, well. So anyway, check it out. I can't recommend it enough. It is absolutely the best. I know I give it a lot of praise for World's Finest, but that's within the mainstream superhero context. It's the best of that. But just overall, of comic books at the moment, really Conan the Barbarian is at the top of the line. So there you go. 10 issues in, going strong. So next up, we have Jeff Johns' latest creator-owned endeavor of his Ghost Machine brand, and starting out with Geiger. Now, he's done this before. I haven't read the previous series, and that was some time back. And this is, I assume, something of a reboot. There was already just recently a #1, and now there's another #1. But I guess that #1 is just to be considered a special. But I kind of thought typically they'll do issue 0, and that would be your starting off point, because it tells you who the guy is, what happened to him, and it's all the setup for the world he's in now. Whereas this one just opens up in it. Now, unto itself, it's fine. It's a fine issue. The art is, once again, fantastic, excellent work. And you basically, it's this post-apocalyptic wasteland of some nuclear war broke out, and no one knows exactly why the war broke out. So it remains this secret overall. And this is, yes, a shared universe within the Ghost Machine brand. So that's even the horse. If you go outside, you got to wear a mask because of the radiation and everything. But anyway, it's basically become the Old West again. And you've got these Alhoots coming into town, and they're coming to steal. And they, this old man, I guess he's the mayor or whatever. And they just beat him and all that. And then, of course, the Stranger. This would be Clint Eastwood's role. Deals justice to these a-holes, and it's all good, and the narrative plays out, and you're developing characters, whatnot, and then there's a bit of a mystery, of course, concerning him, and that there might be others with his bizarre radioactive man condition that he has. So, post-apocalyptic sci-fi, some amount of superheroics here within the fact that this is a guy who's gained some kind of superpowers. But, of course, he's a very broken man and haunted by his past and all that sort of stuff. So, a lot of great stuff in it. I just found it a little odd that it's introduced this way. I would have thought this would be issue 2. I don't know, but anyway, it says this is the beginning of the ongoing. So there you go. It's worth checking out. It's intriguing, and I'll see how that plays out. So next up for Ghost Machine is Redcoat, because he was a redcoat back in the American Revolution, which means he fought for the British. Yeah, yes. And, well, he wears the red coat. Yeah. So, basically, again, the art, top-notch, beautiful work. And there's Paul Revere. And then there's elements of sorcery afoot here in this, and that was involved in the founding of America and all that sort of thing. And ultimately the story, there's been stories like this before of immortal characters who live on and on and on. And this one starts off the way you should with an issue 1. This is the origin story of this character. It explains how he got to be the way he is. Doesn't really explain why he keeps wearing the red coat, because he lives on, he's immortal. That's the big spoiler. But that's the point of it. And he's this roguish a-hole type guy. But I assume we'll find that he does indeed have a heart of gold, and that type of character, which can be a lot of fun if handled well, and will have charm to it. So again, it's just one issue in, not enough to solidly judge it. Nothing in there so awful that I would just never want to see it again, or anything like that. So we'll be giving this a chance. But again, it is elements I've seen before in other stories about people who find themselves unable to die and that sort of thing. But it's already set up about this mysterious society that apparently understood sorcery, and it's connected to actual historical figures and that sort of thing. So that'll play out as you go. And as he goes further into time, through his immortality, he's meeting other historical figures, and that kind of thing will play out in the series. As its overall connection to the grand scheme of Ghost Machine, not clear, but you wouldn't expect it to be at this point. Now, Rook is a full-on sci-fi story set in the distant future on this planet that's been colonized by Earth. And all hell broke loose, and it's not the paradise it was promised to be, and that sort of thing. And once again, we have a broken man who grew up in tragic circumstances. This is all very sad, and you can understand his mindset through here. But once again, elements of superheroics where he's basically in an outfit, but there's an explanation for why the people wear these helmets like that, and gives them the ability to control the animal life on the planet and that sort of thing. So it's got its own interesting setup as far as that goes, and that sort of thing. But again, like Redcoat, this is issue 1, and it opens the way it should. It explains itself, tells you who the guy is and all this sort of thing. The one thing about it, though, is I don't know if this is to be considered connected to the others. The rest of them, it pretty much says it. There's like in the pages within the Ghost Machine books, there's like a map of the timeline and stuff. Don't really see Rook mentioned in it, even though it's so far distant in the future. It could. So I don't know if it wasn't clear to me from what I've seen of these comics. So, but once again, artwork is the best of the best here, and it was interesting, and it's the setup of how this works and how they interact with each other. There's different animals in each one. Rook has the ability to control and communicate with these birds. Other people, pigs, and of course these animals are mutated and whatnot, so they're not exactly like normal and stuff like that. other animals will come into play, and these people wearing these helmets. And of course, it's already I think the ground work is laid there that perhaps the humans are losing more control than the animals are by being connected to them and stuff like that. But anyway, again, it is by the circumstances another kind of post-apocalyptic setting, but it's another planet, and it was an initiative that this corporation or whatever tried to make work. It didn't, so they just bailed. And the people who couldn't leave are stuck on this planet that's probably in the process of dying. So there it is. Really cheery stuff. But none of these have failed to lose interest immediately. So we'll stick with this, and we'll see how that plays out. So far, so good. It's only the first issues, but nevertheless, and of course the art alone is a selling point because it's so damn good. But well, yeah, I just have to wait and see. But you know, if you're curious and interested into these type of templates of story and whatnot, then check out the Ghost Machine titles. So finally, we conclude with the most disappointing of the titles that I checked out. Ultimate Spider-Man, upon its launch, was easily the best Spider-Man product that they have available from Marvel as of now. But it's not without its flaws. And the main thing is that it's so slow and not a lot of stuff goes on. I don't think there's enough explanation for Peter's motivation to jump into this. It's more irresponsible for him to do this rather than the tragic circumstances in the original story. The only thing here is that he's, the message from Stark told him that, his life was stolen from him by what the Maker did and the time travel shenanigans and all that. And says, oh, this must mean why I feel lost or something. Or maybe it's just you're in your 30s, age is upon you, you're a father now, and you're married and all that, and that kind of thing weighs on people at that point in their lives all the time. Yeah, you're closing in on a midlife crisis. So instead of getting a sports car, dyeing your hair or some crap like that, or growing it out, you decide to dress up as Spider-Man and jump around. And that's essentially the motivation there. I don't know. I mean, unless they revealed something happened to Aunt May, and it's the sort of thing that really puts him in the Batman mode of I really hate crime more than the average guy, because most people do. And that sort of thing. But yeah, that's a bit of a failing at this point overall, even if it picks up and starts getting good. The rest of it, the dialogue's fine and all that. The art was great. This issue is a guest artist who's not bad. He's just not as good as the regular artist. But he's sound and consistent, so he's not a bad artist or anything. But this is just date night for Peter and Mary Jane, double dating with Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy, who is his wife in this reality. And of course, the thing of it is Harry knows Peter's Spider-Man, and Peter, of course, knows Harry's the Green Goblin. So I guess it's taking a nod almost from the first Spider-Man movie where the Green Goblin wanted Spider-Man to team up with him. Only, this Harry is not as, at least not yet, as evil and crazy as that scenario. But it's basically, look, what he wants from Peter is for the two of them to, take on evil in the world with their abilities and whatnot. Although he does mention his is all technological. He doesn't have a goblin serum, apparently, in this version, because he's going on about Peter's, you've got these superpowers. I just got a fancy suit and all this type of stuff. But the wives, Mary Jane is left in the dark. And of course, that's going to be a huge problem. You know, he should have told her this some time ago. His little daughter knows, but only by accident. And the idea that he's been taking her out on little Spider-Man rides, you know, swinging around, and Mary Jane's going to find this out. It's just so stupid to think that he would do that. I just don't think so. You know, and I mean, the obvious problem that's going to come. I don't know if they want to push that to where he has an affair or something with Gwen and stupid crap like that, but basically that's it. And I mean, these type of things where they, in Marvel comic stories where the friends have dinner together or whatnot, you could do that in one page, maybe two, with what's expected of superhero stories, action on the side, even if it's villains plotting their heist and going through it where the hero is unaware of it because he's, you know, too busy stuffing his face with friends. That sort of thing. But I mean, and I'm showing, this is the preview images released, and this is pretty much the whole damn thing. They cut back to Ben and Jonah still planning their new news business. And that is more interesting than this, because ultimately it's just at the end where they have their little private confrontation because they both know each other's secret. And then Harry reveals that apparently Gwen is aware of this too, because I don't hide anything from my wife. Which, of course, what's that say about you, Peter? You know, well, he's irresponsible. And then he does the saying in it, of course, with great power comes great responsibility. And in this case, you got to wonder, does Peter even understand what responsibility is? So maybe that's the tack they're going, where he's, you know, he's got to learn the hard way. And I mean, maybe something really tragic happens that pushes him there. And maybe that's what it is. It's the subtle business of how, you know, in the original story, Peter, he was a nerd and isolated, didn't have friends. And the only people he cared about was Uncle Ben and Aunt May. And so when he got the powers, he was pursuing fame and fortune and didn't. So the rest of the world can go hang, you know, and all that, which leads to the burglar getting past him, and he lets it happen. And then, of course, the burglar goes on to kill his uncle. And that's the hard lesson he has to learn. So perhaps that is the take. It's just really long in getting there, 4 issues in, and that he has to be really, you know, kicked in the balls to wake up and realize how serious things are. I mean, he's already pursuing criminals. You know, he went after the Shocker and stuff like that. But it's like it's done for a lark. So, yeah, if ultimately that's it, and he realizes he's been playing when he's supposed to grow up and be serious and whatnot, and that's how that plays out. And so the guilt rides him for the rest of his life, which is akin to the original story. Okay, but I don't think it needed to take this long to get to that, because this is a long, drag-out thing, to where Spider-Man is the most popular of these new Ultimate titles, because it's Spider-Man, for one thing, and plus it's giving elements that people want in Spider-Man, albeit very few at this point, and with this slow burn here, I don't know. But right now, as far as superhero action goes, I guess Ultimate Black Panther is the best of the 3. The X-Men is just weird, and it intrigues me, so I'm following it, but it's not much of an X-Men title. So I just don't know that one is going to do well in the long run. But basically, Spider-Man needs to pick up the pace, and very quickly, because this is just, I just see a big problem here. Anyway, there you go. That's comics I read for this Wednesday. I'll read some more, or talk about something else, who knows. For next Wednesday, and I'll talk to you then.